Hello, hello, everybody. So here we are back for another career and spirituality conversation. So if you don't know the podcast yet, I'm Julie Pone, your host, and I generally support spiritual seekers having a career experience to reconcile what they do for a living with who they are as a soul. And today, to help me out with these ideas, concepts, this mission, I'm super excited to talk with Javier Munoz. Hi, Javier. How are you today?
Hello, Julie.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the invitation.
Yeah, but thank you so much for jumping on the invitation. I'm super happy that we'll have a fruitful conversation on especially around AI and this type of thing. So that's exciting. And as the audience usually knows, we're always starting by a 1 2 minute grounding, breathing exercise. So I suggest we do that now. So for everyone listening, if you can, just close your eyes and just bring your attention, your focus in the area in the middle of your chest, the area of your heart. And gently imagining or visualizing as if your breath is flowing in and out through your heart, a little bit as if your heart had a nose. And then we'll just take some slow, deep breath from our heart for about a minute. And I'll just count for us and let us know when we're done. Slow inhale, slow exhale. And one more slow, deep cycle of breath. Thank you. And whenever you're all ready, you can open our eyes. And welcome back, Tana. Nice to have you, Javier. So, Javier, guys, is a AI advisor. So he's showing leaders how to implement AI in the most human-centric way possible. Yeah, is
That's
that a good
right.
way to put it?
I believe so. And most importantly, I think is crucial
Mm-hmm.
and is actually the only way in which we can guarantee that there will be a return on our investment
Mm.
and some benefit. And the question is simple, if you are planning to implement AI, and probably it's something top of mind because everyone is looking at the technology
Mm-hmm.
to improve, create efficiencies, grow, innovate. If that's your case, what you need to be able to answer in the most crude of terms is what's good, what's in it for me
Mm-hmm.
personally as an individual, and employees will be asking that question, what's in it for me, and then what's in it for all of us.
Yes.
If we only answer the question of what's in it for the organization and we don't factor in the answers for the individuals, we won't ever be able to generate the benefits or the traction for the technology.
Yeah.
And this is quite of a unique situation, but we can explore that in more detail.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. And so before getting there, I like to ask about your, your spiritual journey and your career journey, how you got to do what you're doing now. So, but starting with spirituality, for you personally, what does it mean and what does it look like in your life, in your practice, and maybe even in your work?
Yes. For me, the irreducible concept of spirituality, if you want to keep it simple and principles based, is our awareness of our connection with ourselves, with others, and with our world, our environment. If we have some degree of awareness, that's probably cultivated through um, spirituality and through a practice of or a spiritual practice that may be in tune with you. Not everyone connects with all the brands of spirituality,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just a matter of connecting with the one practice that works for you to raise that awareness. I believe that everyone is somehow in a quest, even if they don't think of themselves as spiritual, but in a quest of understanding that relationship with themselves, with others, and with their environment. So when that increases in vibration, then you are more and more aware of how that is an spiritual experience.
Yeah. And have you always seen it that way, or like, in your life from your upbringing to now, has it changed, or how did you get to this way of seeing spirituality?
Well, I'm sure that there has been a sort of evolution to the way I'm thinking, but I think from the early times, my grandmother used to provide me with books and things to
Mhm.
read at an early age. And I think that shaped a lot of my thinking. And my drive has always been towards keep it simple.
Mhm.
Yes, like look at it from the simplest possible principles,
Yeah.
because in that search for simplicity, there is also search for truth. And when there is connection with that, then you understand things better. You can also transmit things better.
Mhm.
And so, if there was any evolution in my thinking, has been towards making it simpler. You
Oh,
know,
okay. Okay. Yeah, I like that. Um, it's probably useful in your current activities and quests around AI, that view of simplifying things for yourself and others. Certainly, I'm assuming that probably people come to you finding these AI topics very complex, or and then you have an ability to make it more approachable, maybe. Would that be
there
something?
the there are many complex things about AI and the conversation. One of them is the existential question of
Yeah.
where humanity is going to stand
Yeah.
in an era of AI.
Yeah.
And again, if we go back to thinking in terms of of simplicity, you could also easily say that whatever it is principle based and irreducible will be timeless. And so
Mhm.
in the world of AI, where things are evolving so fast and you seem to be pushed to learning new abilities constantly, and you're asking, how come all these things are changing so much?
Mhm.
And how is this change going to affect me? Will I be able to keep up? Yes.
Mhm.
My message, or one of my messages, is let's go back to the principles that are timeless, which are profoundly humane. And
Mhm.
if we can understand them, then we will have a better sense of what does not change, but it
Mhm.
is principle based, and it all is also foundational to the human experience. And it's easy to lose sight of that because of all the distractions, because of all the fear that is generated through this, where you are paying attention to the things that you don't understand or that are complex about the technology or about its impact.
Mhm.
But after you discern what it is that's happening in that surface layer, I always invite everyone to think about those fundamental, timeless, unshakable foundations that we should learn about and we should be able to transmit easily.
Okay. So in a world where we're feeling more pushed and at speed to these technological advancements, it's the principle-based principle-based humanness that is going to keep us help us to navigate the changes. Is that the
Yes,
way to see?
and and there might be some things that are not necessarily the description of human nature from a
Uh-huh.
principle perspective,
Okay.
but that are important in achieving any success,
Okay.
or especially in continuity. And but it is a principle. For example, the idea of how much truth there is in what you do, how
Mm-hmm.
much truth there is in the way you do it, in what you achieve, and how
Okay.
you communicate that. Is it valuable to speak the truth? Is it valuable in continuity? Those questions might be open to suggestion, because if you think about all the manipulation of information, disinformation that we are constantly exposed to, and return on investment on all that proliferation of information that may not be founded on truth
Mm-hmm.
or fact, then you could easily say, well, maybe um, there is a business model for manipulating information, yes,
Mm-hmm.
and which could generate some more immediate benefit. And then you will be able to bank on that. And if you are found out, it doesn't really matter, because you live in a global world where you can shift from one group of people to another group of people, and your survival is not really dependent on you creating uh, reputation
Mm-hmm.
in every way.
Yeah.
I mean, those questions could be easily uh, present. They could
Yeah.
be present, especially in young people. If you look at them, how they interact in YouTube or Instagram, and what they are portraying, yes, it doesn't have to be young people. It could be anyone, right? Portraying things that are not entirely a reflection of their truth.
Mm-hmm.
Then and seeing that that's what generates traction or attention, or even, plain transactions in their favor, then you could say, well, maybe we have to live these double-faced realities in order to achieve any success. you know
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
uh, and if things go wrong at some point, then you just close the company, move on to another thing, change your community, which there is so much capacity to move around the world, and then you start on another thing, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But
Yeah.
my question is then, in that context, is the truth an asset that will provide you with foundations for your continuity, um, moving forward, thriving, developing your legacy, developing things that are going to be of value for other generations in the future?
Mm-hmm.
And I like to believe that yes, but it takes patience, attention, persistence,
Mm-hmm.
and some sort of conviction that that's the way forward, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so is that some, as a segue into what you're doing now, is that what you're helping people to stay anchored in better values to navigate? Is that what's the core of what you're at in your career right now?
Yes, I found that artificial intelligence is an exciting technology,
Uh-huh.
and it will augment you in the direction in which you were already. So
Okay.
if you were in the direction of being generous, being creative, being supportive, being collaborative, if you were going in that direction, the technology is going to boost those qualities, and it's going to boost that direction.
Okay.
So otherwise, if you were not in line with those ideals and you were going in another direction, AI is going to boost that instead.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it makes all the sense in the world to look at the technology from an existential perspective, thinking, what is that I can do to create value with this for myself and others
Mm-hmm.
before you actually start tinkering with it
Mm-hmm.
seriously.
Yeah.
And if that's true of an individual, that's also true for a company.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do so because I want to understand how in practice, how do you work with people to figure these things out? And I also
Yes.
want to know how you ended up here. So maybe let's start with that, and then maybe we'll go back to to what you're doing now and how.
Well,
Uh,
you
so
see in my wall the
oh
question, what brings you here,
oh yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That is actually one of the most interesting questions,
Uh-huh.
because when you talk about the story of what brought you to a specific situation,
Mm-hmm.
that's where the evidence of your passion, your persistence, your fire is manifested.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would guess that I've always been passionate about people's epic projects. To me, it's extremely exciting. Exciting would be the word to describe this. When someone is in tune with their truth and
Mm-hmm.
connecting to that which they are passionate about, and that is a problem they want to solve from a place of absolute conviction, sometimes even obsession. I've always been fascinated by the question of what brings you here, because it's
Yeah.
what really shows your passion
Okay.
and your fire, and that which maybe you're obsessed about, that you want to go and solve, that you wake up every day to
Mm-hmm.
do. And to me, that is what's profoundly humane, because it is what could be unreasonable also. It's like this unreasonable obsession with a subject, and to me that's fascinating, and it inspires me to help. And so from the get-go, I've always wanted to understand the underlying values and behaviors that drive people to be where they are.
Mm-hmm.
And in that, there is always a good amount of success and failure that you can learn from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so that's why I always ask that question myself in my own podcast, is what brings you to this point? Tell me about it. What was that profound event or series of events that took you to these very unlikely of places?
Yeah.
And then can we look back and connect the dots, right?
Yeah.
So we all have these stories, and the beauty of this is that who I mean, it's nothing planned. Things just unfold, but they have
Mm-hmm.
some sense of a direction. And in my case, I guess it would be trying to help people to really connect to that which is true to them inside,
Mm-hmm.
and look for the resources for them to make that a reality in the biggest possible way.
Mm.
Yes. And by biggest possible way, I really mean possible in the sense of whatever is that you want to manifest. It just doesn't have to be a global movement. If you
Yeah.
want to manifest something that is less spectacular, but will make you happy, then
Yeah.
that's what we should pursue.
Mm. Mm. And how, when um, you've always been, so that's your thread, like helping people, like you follow, it sounds like you followed very much your passion, and now you're helping people to follow their passion. What did you study, or like what, that got you started? Have
Yeah.
you always been on that trajectory, or has there any been, where did you, have you always been working for yourself, or were you before, in employment? Can you give us a sense of
Yeah.
how that has worked,
Yes.
worked now?
I studied engineering, so I am a mechanical engineer and
Yeah.
industrial engineer. So I am a bit technically oriented. That's
Uh-huh.
why AI is interesting for me.
Yeah.
And so technology, mathematics, physics has always been like a good guidance
Mm-hmm.
in many ways. But I lived in the US for several years and created technology companies over there. And I realized back then that being able to identify your values and be able to connect and create a sense of purpose would be a differentiating element to you personally or to an organization. And this was much earlier than when this became mainstream popular. Right now, everyone talks about purpose and values, and how culture and corporate culture is a strength, and all of that is like mainstream and pretty well documented in all kinds of business and management books. But back then it wasn't. And so I created a system called Just Action, which still I work on. I still have that ongoing to be able to help basically people define that in a fun way, in a way that is very interactive and very dynamic. And
So
one thing that
let me repeat the name for people, is Just
just
Action.
yes, Just
Just Action. Okay.
Action is a program that we put together to help people reinvent themselves.
Okay. I like that. A little
And
bit similar to some sort of a coaching, you know.
it what we try to do is not so much coaching, it's
Okay.
more of a cohort group of
Okay.
people that come together and
Mm-hmm.
they go through this very dynamic process. It takes 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
We facilitate these over Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
We have groups of 10 to 15 people in each edition, and it's done live,
Okay.
um, with in a very dynamic way. And after the program is done, after the fourth um, session, let's say, we invite those people to be part of the community. And that's where we just keep supporting each other, providing tools, very pragmatic elements that they could use to boost that epic project that they've been able to define. So this is for people that are like transitioning from one job to another, or they are trying to ask the question of, is this it? Is this all that I'm going to do with my life? Is
Yeah.
Could there be more? I always had a longing for this and that. Could I be doing that? And so it's really an invitation to ask those questions and get some clarity as to the answers.
Okay.
And so we did this quite a bit, and now that after the pandemic, it was then necessary for me to think of ways of doing this online. So we've been doing this online globally. So it actually expanded my footprint and was able to create more traction. But one thing led to another, and I was invited to participate in a company called Delivering Happiness,
Mm. I like the name.
which, yes, the name is based on the book.
Mm-hmm.
Um, And what we did was basically create strong cultures of well-being for companies that were interested in doing that as a business model because there was a very firm, scientifically based evidence that when you have well-being in an organization as one of the priorities, then that drives happy customers and then of course profit. So these things started to become more mainstream. Originally it was not something that seemed mainstream by no means. It seemed like a big hippie. But as time went on, and there were Harvard Business Review reports of that, and all kinds of very established
Mhm.
um, publications started to talk about the connection between the science of happiness, positive psychology, and everything that had to do with the management of companies and the creation of strong cultures and the relationship with the results, then it became really very evident that there was a very strong link. And more companies started to really think of their employee well-being. And there are many other reasons for that. So that was something that allowed me to travel in many countries. We did programs everywhere, in Asia, in Japan, in India. I'm not gonna give you the list, but we've
Yeah.
been even to Kazakhstan doing
Oh, wow.
programs everywhere. We in South America naturally, and Middle East quite a bit. So we had really incredible experiences because one thing is what the studies tell you,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to understand a lot of the studies done in the US are with Americans, right? But what happens when the conclusions of those studies are put to the test in other cultures,
Mm-hmm.
like when you go to another country that is dramatically different? And the most amazing learning, Julie, I would say that I had, personally, was to really understand what is below culture, which is this fabric
Mm-hmm.
of human factors that are below culture that are actually driving a lot of our decisions and our hopes and our desires. Yeah. So what is below culture? It could A lot of that stuff is expressed by culture in different ways,
Mm-hmm.
but what's below is actually the same. It's the same
Yeah.
across all races, across all cultures.
Yeah.
um, and when you connect to that fundamental language of what's human, and you understand that from a most basic principles, as we've been talking about in this whole podcast, that's when you are connecting with the truth of how we are interacting and what is uniting us for real and what is motivating our decisions for real. And so when you can speak that language, then connections are a lot more spiritual, as you said,
Mm-hmm.
and more with no interruption, and you know anything that is interference,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's more direct. And I'm not saying that I'm an expert at that, but what I did find is that there is language that you can teach and you can implement to create the same conditions across any organization anywhere in the world, no matter what the culture.
Okay. So what's the common cement under the culture? Like what is, it's like, what is it then? What did you learn that uh,
There are so
survive?
many elements to dive deep.
Yeah.
The one that comes to mind a lot has to do with gratitude,
Oh.
the sense of gratitude, that being able to express it and to receive it.
Mm-hmm.
There could be different languages to do it,
Yeah.
different ways that is culturally correct to do it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the actual act of gratitude,
Uh-huh.
feeling gratitude, that is a universal energy.
Okay.
And we found that to be really strong and powerful across as a driver to happiness, as a
Mm.
driver of connection between people,
Yeah.
and also as a driver of progress,
Oh,
believe it or not. Because if
wow.
I'm grateful to you for something that occurred, it means that you've generated value to me and
Mm,
that value made me improve something. And so I am voicing that. The moment I voice it, I am acknowledging
mm,
that I am better off, I am making progress because of that. Naturally, there could be some minor reasons for me telling you thanks, like if you bring me a cup of coffee,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
But I'm saying is I'm talking about gratitude when there is something of value being exchanged between
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
and the expression of it, how the other person also listens to the gratitude, then that means, oh, that was of value. I can
Yeah.
keep doing that.
Yeah.
I am making progress doing that.
Yeah.
Yes, I
Yeah.
am useful doing that.
Yeah.
So that also provides sense of progress to the other person. And so connection and progress are two of the three elements that drive happiness the most for any individual.
Yeah.
So gratitude is easily one of the most powerful ways of achieving that.
Yeah. Do you know what it reminds me of? When you describe gratitude, in a way, it's like the positive version of what you described at the start about, how we can get to a rabbit hole when we are not anchored in truth in the context of AI and stuff like that. So it's like
Yes.
two algorithm. It's like an algorithm. So either the algorithm of gratitude encourages you to move towards a direction that has gratitude as a reward system in a way,
Hmm.
the same way that you could be driven by like in a different algorithm that just rewards empty success, like you were describing when we started with this, for someone who wouldn't be really anchored on truthful principle if they were using their running their business with
Absolutely.
AI. Yeah.
I love that notion of the algorithm
Yeah.
and how in what direction are you optimizing, right?
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah.
optimizing in the direction of gratitude
Yeah.
or are you optimizing in the direction of fast accumulation of money?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
but founded on nothing of meaning that may actually be diluted over time
Hmm.
and forgotten. And so there is this notion that I really love, that I speak about quite a bit. It has to do with gratitude capital.
Oh,
Gratitude capital.
I like
Yes,
that. Yeah.
and it has to do with what happens in a healthy community.
Hmm.
When you have a healthy community where people are giving each other support and value with no judgment, and there is this language, this common language of being able to um, just spontaneously come up with something that could be of value to you, Julie, because I heard of someone say, and then you pop in my mind, I send you this information or I give it to you in the context of the community. What are you creating when that happens? You're creating what I call gratitude capital. Yes, because then
Yeah.
in the context of the community, you would be also inclined to be in tune with the algorithm, as you said,
Okay.
and then say, okay, so there is this very fundamental thing that we do also as humans. It's called reciprocity. That is also very human and very universal. We may be showing it differently, but it's expressed by humans across cultures. And so this natural reciprocity is also part of what made us thrive in a community, because you also want to be able to show that you can be useful to the person that was supporting you.
Hmm.
Uh, as a means of establishing yourself also in the community.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you go and you think of something, you offer it, but you
Yeah.
do it because you want to. It's not driven by a transaction. Yes, it's not, it's driven by this feeling of reciprocity where you are enjoying this act. So when you are able to tune into the joy of giving and finding that the person receiving is getting value,
Yeah.
then the virtuous circle of
Yeah.
gratitude capital increases,
Yeah.
and that increases the value of the community. It increases, of course, the results
Yeah.
that the members of the community generate. It's a delicate balance because it is as if you are tendering a fruit garden or a vegetable garden, taking care that all the right species are there to balance each other out, to keep the pest out, to make it very organic. And so I see that a healthy community has those dynamics in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Like that. Especially with like this, the idea of algorithm, I get excited about this because on my journey, I started eventually to realize that somehow the universe like works a little bit like the algorithm on YouTube. Like the more where you put you're presented with more of the thing that you're expressing and you're energetically broadcasting, and the whatever you put into the world, somehow you're getting more, you're seeing more of it in your own experience. And it
Yes.
struck me one time, it's like, well, actually it's like, it's like YouTube for life, in a sense. You know? Yeah,
Exactly. I
yeah.
mean, maybe that's why these algorithms are catching people's attention to the
Mhm.
degree that they are. Only that this dynamic of creating controversy and polarization
Mhm.
is it's also a feature of the social media algorithms that is catching people in those rabbit holes that you
Yeah.
were talking about before. We have to be very aware of it. But by the way, I think young people are starting to really get it.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
these at least my kids,
Uh,
maybe it is because it's a subject that is talked about every single day in my home, but
mhm,
I
mhm.
don't think we're strange. I think a lot of parents are having this conversation with their kids, especially if they are teenagers.
Yeah.
And we are, I believe, I hope we are developing a defensive mechanism for the manipulation of those algorithms. And so I see a lot of defensive behaviors already from a very critical perspective
Yeah.
that understand what the algorithm is trying to do to you,
Yeah. Yeah.
and how you have to react to it, even though it's is and neurologically very hard to do because it's providing you with all the inputs that you are maybe thirsty for,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
So, but being able to catch that,
Mhm.
it's, I think, a good idea. And the second thing I think that is happening is that we're reaching a saturation point where even the stimulus that we're getting is actually reaching a saturation, and
Yeah.
it's not enough, it's not enough. And then you feel like there must be something more profound and more true than scrolling.
Yeah.
you know
Yeah. Yeah.
and so there must be, and
Mm.
so I think that also is happening. People are reaching this saturation point, especially younger folks
Yeah.
that are native, to this social media world,
Yeah.
and that are already more inclined to find alternatives. So the pendulum is swinging back,
Yeah.
and we're going back to vinyl.
Oh yeah. Yeah. To vinyl and hiking in the forest. Yeah. Yeah. So, because I know we had a little up, we wandered around a little bit. So that was,
Mhm.
you were describing the stage where you were working with delivering happiness.
Mhm.
And so from delivering happiness, then are you still working with that? But what's the step
It
that
has
you're in now?
evolved. Yes, what happened, Julie, is that I learned
Uh-huh.
how hard corporate transformation is, how hard personal transformation is, you
Yeah.
know, how hard transformation is, period,
Yeah.
right? We talk about change, and change is fast and ta ta ta, but
Yeah.
it's not really that fast,
Ah. Yeah.
especially when we're talking about human dynamics. Anything that is human
Mhm.
is low, is very slow. You
Mhm.
could have very advanced technology being launched on a daily basis. Uh, and not being able to keep up with that is a fact. But for anything to actually take hold and be adopted and be useful and be, in, something that is generating that transformation within a company, it takes a long time to do. So having that experience of what it takes to help an organization transform itself to go in a direction that is more positive, that is more creative, that is more innovative, that is more collaborative, whatever direction they want to go in. Having that experience is helping me now really understand the question of how AI could be more human centric,
Mhm. Okay.
because I understand that how technology works. I am always very open to technology since I was 14 years old. So I love technology. I've always been an early adopter in many things, and I love to interpret what a new technology could what it could do, what it could mean. Um, but on the other hand, I'm also like very very much into those human dynamics that make it happen or not. And so I think now we are in this middle, in this moment where those two things are merging,
Yeah.
and I find myself in a situation where I am like a little kid in a toy store, because I mean, frankly, the question is unprecedented.
Okay.
Humans have not ever dealt with a technology that had this significance from a existential perspective. And so that is interesting on its own and
Yeah.
amazing. But on the other hand, the things you can do, I mean, if you use it in the right direction,
Mhm.
is just staggering. And
Yeah.
it's just another paradigm completely. And
Mhm.
so if we are able to create the degree of clarity that people need to address that direction and boost that direction with the right technology, then we are possibly um, about to really see a really amazing era for humans.
Mm.
But I'm not super optimistic. I'm just saying that's potentially a
Yeah.
possibility.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you think it's the crossroad? We are the crossroad that it could go either way. Either we take like the turn in a indeed human grounded um, way, or possibly fear-based is replacing everyone, using it for manipulation, etc. Do you think is that the situation we're a little bit right now?
I hope that we are at that crossroads. I hope
Okay.
we haven't already gone in one road that is
Okay.
not the correct. Hopefully, we are in the
Yeah.
crossroads.
Okay. Okay.
Number one. Uh, Now, the, going back to principles, every single technology can be used for light or shadow,
Yeah.
right? Every
Yeah.
every single thing that we create from a technology perspective
Mhm.
can be used for harm or to benefit someone.
Mhm.
This will be the same.
Yeah.
So AI will be a tool as any other tool
Mhm.
that could be used and employed to harm or to help. The question is how many trials and errors do we
Mhm.
need, and how painful those will be in order to find the right balance, you know?
Mhm.
There are many examples, right? For example, the book, when the printing press existed,
Yeah.
naturally, before that, the book was only available to rich people because it was done by hand. And
Mm-hmm.
so information only passed between people that had the money to get a book that was written
Mm-hmm.
and that could then be the vehicle for wisdom or knowledge of any sort. So only people that had the means had the privilege to that information.
Yeah.
Then that means implicitly that you could control the flow of information better. Yes, and that it was easier not to have that information, which was power, go in the wrong hands. The
Mm-hmm.
wrong hands, naturally, at the time, for powerful people, would be people that could overthrow you, you know,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
that could displace your place of power or your privilege.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So after the printing press, then it was a boom because anyone could access information at a fraction of the cost. So it was very similar in significance because they made access to information democratic.
Yeah.
So how did we react to it? Well, some people reacted burning the books or burning the people that were reading the books, right? Uh, or all kinds of other violence, keeping people away from the books. For example, the Ottoman Empire decided not to have the printing press anywhere in the Ottoman Empire. It was prohibited.
I didn't
So
know.
the Ottoman Empire, there was never any printing press being used. And of course, that did not fare well for them because the Ottoman Empire, there was a demise of it.
Mm-hmm.
Soon after, the printing press was
Okay. Yeah.
was launched.
Yeah.
So it that did not fare well. So we could realize easily that democratizing access to information would also empower the right side of people. The people that would create the value with this information, that would
Yeah.
create um, value and new means of generating um, industries and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened, overall. So this is similar. How many trials and errors, right, do we have to experience in the onset of this technology for us to find the right balance
Mm-hmm.
where we get benefits, because nowadays we don't think of books as a vehicle of ill or
Yeah.
or anything. We
Mhm.
it's just it has no
It's
it's
neutral
just
in
a
it.
vehicle. Yeah,
Yeah.
it has no polarity. It's just a
Mm-hmm.
vehicle that you use to read. But before it was the book, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now we are thinking of AI as this evil thing potentially, or this amazing thing potentially, but it's us.
Yeah.
Yes, it's us.
Yeah.
We dictate.
Uh-huh.
We are the people that are dictating. The AI is not an entity that's that on its own has an ill will or not.
Mm-hmm.
We are the ones in charge at this point of how we train it, how we implement it, how we create guardrails and security. We are. We
Yeah.
could decide in one way or another.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, it depends what are the incentives,
Mm-hmm.
right? What
Mm-hmm.
are the incentives for us to continue in one direction or another direction? And so there are many um, scenarios that could happen that are scary to especially the experts, that
Okay.
we need to see slowly one by one.
Uh-huh. Um, and so let's say to people who might be listening to us and are in lines of work or jobs that clearly look like they might, are on the line to being replaced or are replaceable by these new technologies, like what do you say to them? Like any words of
Of
hope
advice.
or yeah, or advice?
let me start with the leadership. Let me
Yeah.
start with the leadership, okay?
Uh-huh.
You won't realize any benefit of the technology if the only thing that you do is solve um, and facilitate the friction in the work that you do without providing an option for what to do with the time that you save. So let me repeat that.
Mm-hmm.
If let's say that you do an activity where 40% of your time can be facilitated by an AI technology,
Mm-hmm.
then what happens? In theory, you have potentially 40% of your time that is empty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so for now, no productivity gains have been gained. There are no productivity gains only by facilitating the 40%. I have to do something with the 40% so that there is a productivity gain. Otherwise, there is no productivity gain.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So simply automating as a process or facilitating a process with AI on
Mm-hmm.
its own does
Yeah.
not generate an increase in productivity.
Okay.
What increases the productivity is what you do with the time that now you have.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there are many answers to that question. One of them is you could say, well, I could do more of the same. So if I did 5 proposals, now I'll do 10
Mm-hmm.
proposals. Okay. Or you could say, oh, I'm going to expand my business by establishing new relationships with other people and new companies or new partners so that I can expand my business. Something that I could not do before because I was busy
Mm-hmm.
dealing with this 40% that was friction.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So you could say that, or you could say that I'm going to use the time to think more strategically. Or you could say I'm going to go for a vacation in the Caribbean. I mean, it doesn't really matter, right?
Yeah.
You have to fill that time
Yeah.
somehow. And so the way in which you answer that question, how am I going to create meaning with that time? How I'm going to do something that the AI agents cannot do with that time?
Mm-hmm.
That's what increases your productivity. That's
Mm-hmm.
what generates the return on investment.
Mm-hmm.
That is what generates the benefit. So building a relationship with another company, with a partner, with other people, building trust from that, that's something that you cannot do with the AI. You'll have to do it
Mm-hmm.
yourself. But it's only possible if the leaders of the company provide you with the space, if you are the employee,
Yeah.
for to experiment with that question.
Mm-hmm.
So if there is a way for you to have a vertical displacement instead of a lateral displacement.
Yeah.
So it's not about you being pushed out, but it's about you being elevated.
Yeah.
And by elevation, I'm not saying that you should just be fluent with AI. It's not about fluency. It's about what you do with your mind, with your time, with your humanity
Yeah.
in order to create meaning for yourself, in order to pursue a purpose, in order to generate something that might not be possible for the AI agents to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this
Yeah.
has to, the policy for that has to come from the leadership.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
it's not so complex to do. It's
Okay.
not. I
Yeah.
mean, from a everything that I'm saying is super simple.
Yeah.
Is you're gonna liberate some resources. What are those resources going to be?
Mm-hmm.
What are they going to be? Are they gonna be empowered? Are they going to be motivated to try new things, to be curious, to have the courage to attempt something? Are they going to be able to speak up and say, I have an idea, now I can do it because I have the time? Do you
Mm-hmm.
let me? Do
Yeah.
you let me? Are they going to be in that state of mind or are they going to be like, ooh, now what?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have to make believe that I'm working? You know how many people do that, Julie? That they are using secretly AI. They do their job. secretly with AI. They
Oh,
actually do a lot more of the stuff, but then they
yeah,
make believe that they are working
yeah.
the same way that they were before, but
Mm-hmm.
now, of course, liberated from the stress because they don't want to say anything, not to be pushed with more stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
a lot
yeah,
of that is happening, yes.
yeah,
So my
yeah,
goodness, the question is that meaningful to you? Is that something that really allows you to grow?
yeah.
That allows you to explore potential that maybe you would enjoy
Mm,
realizing?
yeah. Because also,
So
when I hear about, okay, because I hear that what you're saying, that, okay, you're liberating sometimes for argument's sake for your employees, and there are ways that this time will be converted, transmuted into something even more valuable than the task they used to do. But like
exactly,
when the motivation of the company is just to cut costs, like we hear, like Amazon planning on, slashing so many. Uh, so then there seems to be a short-term benefit, less cost. But
exactly.
then eventually, if we look at it, then I was thinking about that. Like, if everyone keeps doing that, who is going to end up buying the products that these companies are,
Yeah,
uh, you know? But yeah, so when that happens, when it's a little bit of the spirit of an organization that would be using AI like this, like like do you have any piece of wisdom or advice around that? Because it sounds like you're working with a more conscious organization that actually have a bit of a willingness, but maybe they're not all like that.
L- look, nowadays, not necessarily, right? The people I'm working with, they come with the idea of I want to implement AI in my organization,
Mhm.
and what is the way in which I can guarantee a return on investment?
Okay.
And
Okay.
in a very pragmatic way, I can say, founded not on my ideals, but founded on actual practice,
Hmm.
that focusing on your human resources
Hmm.
and creating the conditions for them to understand how they should be committing to this and why
Hmm.
would take your investments in AI and make them have an impact in the bottom line. So, but it's only through a human-centric perspective. As I said right at the beginning, it's critical. It's not a luxury only
Yeah.
for conscious leaders. It's actually, if you are looking to be competitive in the most pragmatic and crude ways, you want to be competitive, don't lose your time just basically hiring a tech company or a number of programmers to come and implement technology, because that's not going to do it. People are not going to adopt it. They are not going to use it. And any benefit or efficiencies might not be actually uh, be used to create the growth or the innovation that only humans can create for now.
Hmm.
You have to prepare people. You have to create awareness. You have to raise people's sense of what's possible now.
Yeah.
If you don't do that, that won't happen. So it's not a luxury. Um, and it's not only for people that are elevated somehow. This is a practical way, but here we have the big, huge challenge. And the challenge, Judy, is that there are different rates of speed
Hmm.
between the way in which we're generating technology and the way humans can adopt it. And this we also talked about. But this difference, what creates is a total sense of urgency to address the human factor immediately. You have to address it immediately. Yes, if you want to be able to implement the technology that's going to allow you to compete, reduce costs, be more efficient, grow, be more innovative, all of that, you have to focus on your people immediately because it will take time
Okay.
to do this. It will
Mm.
take time to get people up to speed. And if you say, well, I have no time, I'll fire the people that I have, which are not AI centric. I'll
Yeah.
fire those people and I'll hire people that have the tools already, that understand how to use them. You still won't achieve it, even
Yeah.
in that situation.
Oh,
you
wow.
you will, because people have the mindset. It's not only AI fluency. It's not
Yeah.
only about me knowing the tool.
Yeah.
It's about me being in a culture that allows me to use the time I save to
Yeah.
increase the value of the company with the time I have.
Yeah.
If that is not in place, then there is no benefit even in that operation.
Yeah.
Even if I have AI savvy people inside of the organization, plus all the people that were AI savvy that you
Yeah.
did not fire, those
Yeah.
people are impacted morally because they they know they were subject to potentially to being fired, but they saved themselves and they know in what type of company they are working,
Mhm.
you know? So that's you're gonna impact the morale if you do that.
Mhm.
Now, on the other hand, it is true, and this is going to be the case for all previous technologies, that
Mhm.
sometimes there are certain roles that will disappear. They will disappear. Yes, it's actually possible that bus drivers will disappear. Yes, because you'll have um, the capacity for self-driving buses,
Yeah.
for example, right? So there are a certain roles that just because of the technology making progress will disappear. And then that's more of a institutional question. What do you do with those roles, right, that don't have any possibility to elevate themselves vertically
Yeah.
within the role in which they are, right? They are bus drivers.
Yeah.
So within that, we don't have any vertical movement. What are we going to do for this type of situation? It happens also potentially with customer service people in call centers. There will be a good number of them out of work.
Mhm.
In this case, the solution is more possible because these people could actually have some movement within the corporation, or there could be some ideas
Yeah.
that they could bring in order to achieve, a displacement within the corporation. Not for everyone, but is it possible? Is
Yeah.
there a vehicle for it? So these are the questions that drive human-centric AI.
Okay. Yeah. So that's the essence of all the reflection that you're doing with your clients right now. That's the essence
Exactly.
of your work. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
So like bridging the all of the engineering and technology nerdiness with the deeply human and
Yeah.
caring everything that you've learned from the language underneath culture. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's it. And it's a fun time because look, Julie, there is a sense of urgency
Okay.
at this point, and it's not marketing. It's not. It's true. There is a profound sense of urgency. The speed is
Yeah.
outrageous. There are things that we can do now that were not possible 1 year ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
For example, there is an activity that we do which is fun. It's tremendous fun.
Uh-huh.
It's a 1 day hackathon.
Oh, okay.
You,
Yeah.
you know what a hackathon is, right?
You just gather for and you have like a limited time to come up with a project or something. Is that what it is? Yeah.
Yes, I mean,
Okay.
before it was only programmers that could do a
Ah,
hackathon.
oh, okay. Okay. Getcha.
Before, like
Okay.
a year ago.
Uh-huh.
Okay, not
Ah,
anymore.
but
Not
yeah.
anymore, right? And
Yeah.
nowadays, what we do in this hackathon is a very simple but super powerful workshop and tremendous fun. What we do is we elevate in the morning
Uh-huh.
and we land the plane in the afternoon. This is how I call it. So In the
Yeah.
morning, we elevate people. We provide them with a sense of awareness of
Yeah.
what's possible.
Okay.
What can you do? What are the tools?
Yeah.
We also help them come up with the elements of friction that are most painful in their day-to-day jobs.
Uh-huh.
Then we help them prioritize, what are the things that you could solve with the least amount of work or
Uh-huh.
development. And then we decide together in groups what are the projects that they want to develop. And then in the afternoon, we use the tools of AI to produce the solutions.
Mm.
It's really amazing, but there is this new category of applications, of artificial intelligence applications that provide you with a means to program a software without you being technical. It's
Mm-hmm.
called no code or vibe coding
Okay.
applications.
Yeah.
And so there are, for example, one of them is called Lovable.
Yeah.
They became the fastest growing company, the fastest in achieving $100 million of annual recurring revenue,
Uh-huh.
faster than
Wow.
OpenAI. And
Yeah.
the reason is it's not only because it's a good product, it's
Uh-huh.
really a sign of the times. It's showing you that human beings have a bunch of projects locked in that were not expressed because they didn't have the technical capacity to express them. And
Yeah.
now that you can chat with a system to generate any application, if you are very knowledgeable about the problem that you are dealing with every day, you know what the solution should be. You have
Mm.
imagined that many times. Maybe you even talked to IT many times to get it solved. And they always told you, we don't have budget, we don't have time, we don't have budget, we don't have time. Do you have budget? No, I don't have budget. I don't have technology know-how. I don't know anything. But now you sit down a weekend, not 300 hours, to generate a solution, but a weekend, and I generate the application that would save me tons and tons of time only in a weekend. So what we're trying to do here in the hackathon is to develop those applications. They come out fully functional, and
Mm-hmm.
it generates such an incredible sense of progress because you didn't come out with just a list of actions
Mm-hmm.
to do,
Yeah.
but with an actual,
Yeah.
working application that is already solving the
Wow.
problem.
That's
And so
incredible.
that is something that was not possible a year ago, and it's a type of event that I call it more of a cultural event. It's a mindset shift and cultural event because you're able to connect with others, exchange ideas, learn about the tools. Yes, you learn about the tools, but it's not about training. It is about coming together, collaborating, prioritizing, empathizing with others as far as what their pains are, understanding them better, and then making a decision. Let's solve your problem together. Let's use this tool. Let's put it together and then present. Then there is a pitch at the end, and we celebrate and we vote and we have,
Yeah.
maybe it's an award or something. And it's just a fantastic, fantastic way of doing many things at the same time. You create awareness, you create know-how about the technology, but most importantly, you really create this space for collaboration, for connection, for celebration of the product, that resulted, and it's just like a festival, It's super fun to do.
Yeah.
So these are the things that I
Well,
enjoy the most doing.
yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I bet you do. That sounds fun.
It
Yeah.
is fun. It
Yeah.
is. It is tremendous, tremendous fun. And just, the other day I found out why.
Okay.
I was looking at my oldest son, and he's 15, and
Yeah.
he was vibe coding an application
Yeah.
for young people to share challenges.
Oh,
So basically, and look, you already realize that the yard, or at least my kid is, he says, no, no, I don't want this to be a social network. I want this to be with 5 people tops. no
Mhm.
more.
Okay.
Yes. And what is that he wants with 5 people? He wants to share a challenge. And it could be an academic challenge,
Mhm.
the sports challenge, a volunteering challenge, you name it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, for example, let's run 5 miles per week every week.
Mhm.
I send the challenge to my friend, and my friend accepts or
Mhm.
rejects. Yes. And if they accept, then they have to show photos, they have to upload photos to show that they've been doing the running or
Mhm.
other means of proof.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the app that he was doing. And when he was doing this thing, he's like, oh, wow, Dad, look at this. It just created this and this and this, doing this with vibe coding. And
Yeah.
I understood exactly what the fascination is instant gratification without
Uh-huh.
the pain. You have instant gratification without the pain of the programming, that this doesn't work, that what happened to that library? Why is this bug not working? And then it's one little tiny, semi-comma or, that you didn't put. So realizing that the vision translates to the technology almost immediately and finding that gratification that you are creating and then you're sharing quickly is
Yeah.
so in tune with young people now that need instant gratification. But we all do,
Yeah.
we all like instant gratification. I don't want to have any pain. I don't want to be programming 300 hours.
Yeah.
I understand how that can be cool. And so that's why this is so much fun.
Yeah. Also to just to see the finished product. I think anyone who relates to, liking, because we sometimes, everything online we equate to something that's virtual that we don't necessarily see a result, at least
Hmm.
not straight away,
Hmm.
versus like, I'm cleaning my apartment. There is a before and after, and depending on the motivation, you see the before and after quick enough or not. But then there is
Yes,
satisfaction of seeing the results. So then suddenly now we also have the power to see results quickly in our more virtual adventures.
exactly. And
Yeah,
more
I like that.
incredible results. I mean, the results are like,
Mhm.
um, really remarkable
Yeah,
on top of it, because it's really implementing best practices from application design that
yeah.
you didn't know about, and
Mhm.
it's being applied, and it just turns out to be a great idea, right?
Mhm.
And so it's really this amazing opportunity for creativity. The same happens with video. This capacity that we now have to create cinematic
Mhm.
videos. I understand it's a challenge, of course, for the Hollywood industry
Mhm.
or the video production industry, because it's going to be very challenging for them. But my take is, how eloquent can you be in comparison to the past by putting together your ideas, your visions with a cinematic video with sound and sound effects and amazing, script and everything. And all of that is so hard to convey to you by just describing it. But the other
Yeah.
day, I had a participant of my podcast come to our community, and he explained how he had done a cinematic ad for his startup company, and it was done with AI, of course, but it was very emotional. I was like, man, this is so well done. Is it because I know him, or is it because it's well done?
Yeah.
And how could you not? How could you do a similar thing before? It's not possible, right? Without the budget, and so he has no know-how
Yeah.
in cinematic subjects. So he's just a regular person in those terms, and he didn't know the tools, but he decided to do this. It took him 15 hours to put together a video that you would say this was done by a professional
Mm.
and
So
with a budget of I don't know how many thousands.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's such a boost to human creativity and like giving more, you know, giving more tools to anyone's
Express.
creativity to be expressed as a finished product, not just staying in the mind, you know, in a hope that maybe one day that would see the
Exactly.
daylight. Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Exactly. But now the shift that we have to make,
Mm-hmm.
Julie, is to really rewire our head,
Mm-hmm.
especially if we've been around for some time. Kids don't need this, but us, that we've been faced with the impossible questions, right? Of, oh, you want to do an ad for like a TV ad? Oh, but that's gonna cost, thousands. Then this but I want to erase it, right? We need to erase a lot of buts from our mindset. And so this is part of the rewiring
Mm-hmm.
that needs to be done with all of us and to really consider the fact that that it's possible with no budget to really come out with something that is incredibly professional, expressive, powerful, and of course successful, because you're going to be able to attract people for some time until everyone is able to do this so easily.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we could be in a situation where there is an advantage.
Mm-hmm. There is an advantage. What do you mean an advantage for?
If you adopt it early,
Ah, yeah.
if you adopt this early and you
Yeah.
create some, you let's say you have a vision for something and
Mm-hmm.
you say, I want to recreate this vision that I have in my mind. I want to make it as an actual video that tells the story of this vision the way I see it.
Mm-hmm.
You can do it.
Yeah.
You can do it.
Yeah.
Yes, and then you can watch the video, and if an image was worth 1,000 words, imagine what a video like this is worth. Is
Mm-hmm.
tremendous for yourself.
Yeah.
So one thing that we do in our community is called aspirational story.
Mm-hmm.
This is basically how would you design a week of your life if it was aspirational.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, to,
Yeah.
to, to really ground it,
Mm-hmm.
imagine a week of your
Mm-hmm.
day to day,
Mm-hmm.
Monday to Sunday.
Yeah.
And imagine you could design every day. What would be what would that be like if you had no limitations and you were to really manifest exactly the way you would like?
Mm.
Yes? What would that be? Could you describe it? So I always ask people to write the story, to write that aspirational story for every day with no limitations. It's not really about having a week in the Maldives for a vacation. It's
Mm-hmm.
not about vacation time. It's about your normal day-to-day
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Raise it to the aspirational level. What would that be like? Could I describe it
Yeah.
to another person in detail, perfect detail, like super detail? Yes.
Yeah.
Um, Now, if you could do that in writing, can you do that as a cinematic video?
Mm.
So the exercise that we have for 2026 that I'm inviting everyone to do is create a cinematic video of your aspirational story
Oh, that's super cool.
and then bring
Yeah.
it and present it. And my
That's
goodness,
exciting.
I have to do it. I
Yeah.
haven't done it, so I
Yeah.
have to do it and I have to show it. So, people
Yeah.
get like, oh my goodness, we could do this.
That's
But
interesting. That's super cool. You know, like that. So then, when you have, when your mind sees the visual of what you know, the impact. It's so funny because that's what I'm doing. That every Monday, I have a meditation every Monday where the goal is you envision the best week coming. You know, your best week, and you
mhm.
get really immerse yourself in it. You project it in a way like, you know, imagine you're walking through a portal where on the other side of the portal, this is that new week that's opening up to you with all this, but the power of having that, you know, on a screen, that on top of just keeping it in your mind, suddenly it's fed back to your senses through a video. I think Joe Dispenza does that in his, in his workshops and for
Uh-huh.
maximum impact and manifestation. Oh, wow, this is a
That
sparking
that
loads
could
of
be.
yeah, expansion on that. Yeah.
That could
Oh,
be, and
yeah.
the other thing is the actual production of the
Mhm,
video. It
mhm,
requires you to say, no, this is not exactly. No, let me twist this, let me shift
mhm,
this. You're making decisions about this image. You're making creative decisions about whether that's and judgments about
mhm,
whether that's the real image. Because of course, when this thing generates an image or a video,
mhm.
it might not be exact what you intended
Yeah,
or what you requested. So it's
yeah.
like, yes, but not quite. I
Mhm,
want it to be like this and I want it to be like that. So you're actually producing more and more emphasis, and you're making decisions about these manifestations as they are created through the
mhm.
video. So I
Yeah,
think it's really an amazing. It's like
yeah,
being the director, right? You're
yeah.
being the director and
Of
you're
your life.
taking the shot and
Yeah,
saying, okay, is this the shot?
yeah.
Or should we retake?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah, puts you more into the driver's seat and pushes your drive, your intentionality, your
Mhm.
creativity for your own sake, for your
Mhm.
own life. I love that. Oh, Javier, like I mean, we could take to talk for another hour, I'm sure. And I've already grabbed you for longer than I had promised. So uh, before I let you go, maybe is there one thing that we haven't discussed or that I haven't asked you that is important for you to leave people with?
I would say to everyone in your audience to have the courage to find their truth, to connect to their epic projects,
Yeah,
and to manifest that into reality and be joyful with it.
yeah. And if they want to find you to help them to do that, where should they
Yeah,
go?
it's easy. You can reach me at justaction.com.
Okay.
That's my website.
Mm-hmm.
And I am also in LinkedIn. You can find me there as well.
Yeah.
And you can maybe put the URL somewhere.
Yes, my wonderful, editor, which is me, will make
Yeah,
sure that the link appears at the bottom of the video when people watch. But thank you so much, Javier. Like, I hope we can do that again, maybe sometimes next year and see
of
like
course.
how far this whole AI thing has evolved. That'd be interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. It was great. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Yeah, so I love you, everybody. Take care, and I'll see you next month for the next Career and Spirituality conversation. Bye, everybody.